let's finish this season. It's been a long road since we started this season, and I have to say, I've learned a lot. I've grown, developed, matured. Unfortunately, the show didn't, but they did manage to cram a ton of junk into the last few episodes. There's a lot to get through, so let's grab the garlic and take a whiff of the last 3 episodes of Hemlock Grove Season 1. Our story continues as Norman treats a catatonic Christina with all the professionalism we've come to expect from him. Speaking of Christina, because of all the rumors she and Clementine spread around town, the sheriff and his friends go to Peter's trailer to pay him a visit. But Destiny warns his mama, and the rowdy Roundup bunch is disappointed to find their quarry isn't home.
Oh, baby! Anybody home?
Luckily, Peter ended up at Roman's house safe and sound, and his host isn't shy about letting his best buddy know how he feels.
Hey, it's okay. I saw it. I saw you. It's fucking beautiful.
After finding out about the sheriff's rowdy Roundup bunch, Roman goes to check on Peter's mom while he rests up. Turns out, she was right under their noses.
Hello?
Hey!
A concerned Letha reunites with Peter at Roman's house, but their reunion is cut short by the fuzz.
Boys always this stupid.
Come on, let's go. Son of a bitch, they're inside.
Thankfully, the police handle the arrest professionally and compassionately.
Peter Romancic, you have the right to remain.
Roman comes to the rescue, and he takes them to an abandoned church where Norman is waiting for them.
Leave him!
It's okay, Shell.
Roman, be careful.
Put the gun in your mouth.
Roman tells Norman about their plan, and his uncle is just as supportive as he always is.
So, you two have been trying to find this bad werewolf?
Norman and Roman leave to get supplies, and Roman has a friendly exchange with Christina.
Sorry, I didn't know you were here.
She's not safe. You think that monster doesn't want her too?
I don't know anything about that.
Peter adjusts to his new digs, and the sheriff sounds the alarm after Christina disappears from the institute.
Nurse! 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 Where the hell is Christina Wendell?
On Peter's behalf, Roman goes to ask Destiny what Peter needs to do in order to defeat the Vargulf, but her answer is disappointing.
I can give him what he needs, but no matter what, it's gonna be a giant crap sandwich for him to eat.
Peter performs the ritual and gets the answers he was... Wait. What's the cat got to do with...
I know.
Put it back.
You trusted me.
Put it back. Peter finds out he has to sacrifice his human face to defeat the beast, and Roman goes home to cook him up some bacon grease. But Olivia has something to show him.
Try not to lose it, darling. It goes back a rather long way.
With a captive audience, Olivia finally has someone to listen to her childhood stories. But when Clementine is less than eager to listen to her tales, Olivia lets her know how rude she's being.
When I was a young girl, there was a game I used to play with my cousin. The game was called Wolves in the Wood. After the moon had risen, I was to lay perfectly still.
Letha makes some tea, and the call of the kettle attracts the local wildlife.
I thought I heard a noise. Sounded like someone screaming.
Letha is happy to take her in, but starts to suspect that something might be off.
Do you want a cup? So, do you want to tell me what's wrong?
Dr. Price finds Clementine after Olivia peeled her like a banana, and he gets emotional.
He reminded himself, again, that whatever sacrifice of personal conscience was required of him, even his humanity, was of scant consequence to his penance. Full stop.
Letha sets aside her suspicions, deciding to take Christina to the church with the boys. And Christina finally gets the kind of one-on-one attention from Peter that she always wanted. At the church, Christina tells Peter about the time she committed some light sexual assault and other fun coming-of-age tales.
I kissed you once. I wanted the experience, you know, it's what writers do. That's why I researched how to turn.
Realizing she's the big bad Vargulf, he poorly ties her up, and the change is all too disturbing.
Are you gonna kill me, Peter?
Yes.
You haven't got a lot of time. I can feel it coming.
And I'm stopping it there because none of us want to go to jail. Peter gives himself a bacon grease facial, and it works out about as well as you might expect. And then we get treated to a flashback from about 6 months ago, because where would this show be without them?
In the background, it doesn't know that she's about to shove this big sandwich in her face. And then she ended up in hospital for like starving.
Hemingway, girls get to a certain age and it's sort of like a freight train without a conductor. You were born for so much more than you can see here.
That was actually pretty sweet, and it would have given us some insight as to why Christina might have felt such a strong connection to Peter. Too bad we didn't get more of that good story sauce earlier in the season. Anywho, how's that fight scene going? Cool, good. That weapon and the entire scene surrounding it really paid off. With time to recover, Peter turns into Wonder Wolf and comes to Roman's rescue. Oh, that didn't work out. Thankfully, Shelley appears to win the day with a little girl power. But the sheriff gets the wrong idea and shoots Shelley, thinking she's been responsible for all the maulings. Man, what a crazy misunderstanding. He must have gotten there right when Christina changed back into human form. Guess he didn't notice the other wolf on the floor that was practically next to Christina's naked body that he felt entitled to picking up. Peter wakes up and we get to see what he looks like after having sacrificed his human face. Roman is devastated over what happened to Shelley and vows to find her. But there's no time for that because...
I'm having a baby!
Your smile makes the flowers grow and your tits make them bloom.
Unfortunately, the birth of Letha's baby doesn't go well, and she dies during childbirth. The baby didn't make it either, and when Norman begs Dr. Price to bring her back like he did with Shelley, he has some bad news for him. But he has a consolation for his colleague.
I may have more luck with a baby.
The baby.
Well, that's a bummer. Peter tells his mom the sad story, and she tells him a story about when she was pregnant to cheer him up.
When I was pregnant with you, Nick had a vision holding a baby, and the baby was peeing on him, and the pee was coming out as one red silk ribbon after the other. And that's how he knew you were going to have a long and full life.
When Roman cries to his mom about what happened to Letha, he tells her that only Peter can console him. They go to his house, and Roman is devastated when he finds out that Peter is nowhere to be found. But his hair is, and hey, he's pretty much all hair anyway. His mom relates to her son, having also been abandoned by her gypsy love. She tells the story of a wealthy plain Jane who falls in love with a gypsy slave boy and runs away with him for a few days. But when they finally feel safe enough to sleep, he steals her jewels and junk and leaves her stranded. In response, she cuts off the tail he didn't know she had and has his baby sometime later. She names the baby Magdalena and sends her away so she can go to theater college in the city. Sometime later, Roman has his 18th birthday, and his mom gives him Letha's baby as a present. And he remembers that Letha's baby is his baby, and he had assaulted Letha and made her believe that her pregnancy was divine. Gross.
She's waiting to meet her father.
Is that dark enough for ya? Well, get ready for a left turn. And that's how vampires are born. Ta-da! Roman thanks his mom for the birthday present. The priest and head of the Order of the Dragon blames Roman for killing Clementine, sending her brother on his trail. And the sheriff continues to lawfully protect the town. And that was... Oh wait, looks like we get to see Peter and his new do while he and his mom spot Shelley on the road.
You doing all right? Yeah.
And that was... Oh, for God's sake. Oh, yes. Ha, good. Spooky. And that was the end of Hemlock Grove Season 1. So, I have a lot to say about this show, and I'll do my best to keep it organized. Lycanthropy, or werewolfism, is often used as a coming-of-age metaphor in modern cinema. Ginger snaps is the best example of this I can think of. I guess it's because of the transformation, getting hairy, the mood swings, not quite feeling yourself, the cramps, the blood. From what I can tell, this show tried to do the same, using Peter's arrival in Christina's life as the catalyst. He awakened her inner beast, as it were. She kind of mentions this during her transformation as she's talking about how the twins got their V-cards punched over the summer and kept making her feel childish and immature because she hadn't. This is kind of reinforced, at least to me, by the intro credits. They kind of look like inkblot or Rorschach tests, but they also kind of look like lady clams, made out of blood, but that could just be me. It's also mentioned in the show that the bad wolf, Christina, is eating lady victims clam first. During her transformation, she tells Peter that she's his and that he made her, and he's pretty darn horrified by the whole thing. It's pretty heavy stuff, and Peter's blindsided. He feels responsible for everything because he missed all the signs. Probably because the writers didn't really put them in. There were plenty of scenes where Christina was staring at him from a distance, and he didn't really understand why. We all just figured that she was a strange girl with a crush, but she knew what was going on. We never really got much of an interaction between them other than...
Are you a werewolf?
You gonna find me a vampire to have a sexless three-way with?
Gross.
Are you...
During the transformation, we get treated to that sweet flashback where they have that endearing chat. Having more of those throughout the show, as opposed to...
I heard about what happened to you in the woods. I'm sorry.
Why would you be sorry?
Because I am.
Are you done?
And... we might have had more of a connection to these characters, and it might have made us feel closer to them. The reveal would have resonated more with the audience than it did. It felt like an undeserved conclusion at this point, and it's a total bummer. I don't think we would have been tipped off to the surprise that Christina was the Vargulf, especially since it would have made her seem more relatable and less predatory and off-putting. It would have given her an innocence and a connection, and it would have made that other side of her all the more alarming, especially when she started becoming more and more aloof. And I don't think we would have been tipped off to the surprise that Christina was a Vargulf by scenes like that. Not when all the Roman hints were so heavy-handed. Seriously, if you couldn't guess he was creeping on his cousin and that he was a vampire by the end of the season, you probably weren't conscious or in the room when the episodes were playing. Now that I went through that whole rant, let's discuss the show in general. Who thinks people talk this way?
This is a strange town. You can feel it on your balls.
And then there was a half-hearted attempt at this catchphrase.
Shit.
The show has its moments. The effects were great for the most part, and they had a unique take on some things, like Destiny's channeling scene, and the lore behind lycanthropy. The vampire lore didn't quite make sense, particularly when you factor in the aging and that we never got an answer as to Olivia's eye drops and how they're relevant to vampirism. I mean, I guess it keeps her cravings at bay, but that's just a guess based on this first season. A lot of the story was messy and had holes in it, like the end scene when Christina suddenly changes back into a human, and the sheriff completely missed the werewolf fight. Granted, we don't get to see Peter change back into a human throughout the series, so we don't know how much time it would have taken for her to be in human form again, but it did seem to happen in a flash. Overall, it felt like the focus was misplaced and most of the tension felt forced. Entire scenes could have been cut and a lot of loose ends were never examined after being so painstakingly set up, such as the creeper teacher in the first episode. Seriously, that lady needs to cool her heels in the nearest hoosegow. The series is based on a book of the same name, and I'd like to give it a once-over to see how it compares, but I've earned a break from the series for a bit. I mean, it's not like there could be much more to it, right? Anyway, thanks for watching.
All right. What the f is going on?